So where do you see the price going? Here we are. It's the end of November. The halving was in April. Traditionally, looking at what Bitcoin, the price has done with the halving, now we have the first ever pro-Bitcoin White House administration. We've never had that in this country before. Again, whatever you think of Trump, I didn't vote for either one of them. And there's much to be critical of Trump on, but just from a Bitcoin price standpoint, what do you see the price doing?
So for sure, I think 100,000 very soon in the next few months, if not in the next few weeks. We saw it at, like you said, in one exchange, it went over 100,000. It was 99.2 on the app that I use to follow crypto. And then I do think 1 million, I don't know, in the next year or next 5 years. It just depends on how quickly this adoption is. But something that, I've said before on this show, and I'll say again for people who haven't seen me before, this is not a normal asset because there's something that's called network effects. And network effects is like a compound interest. Mm-hmm. So, and as you mentioned, Bitcoin doesn't change, it changes you. And so once people understand it, they become very zealous about it. Everyone that I know that understands it becomes really zealous about it. Like you said, your fans are like, okay, Graham, when are you going to shut up about it? It's like you become really overzealous about it because if you have any passion for politics at all, it's very political in not meaning to be. I mean, it's a financial instrument, but people become very passionate about it, and it affects all areas of life, politics, your personal. And so people become very overzealous about it. And that has an effect. People go to Thanksgiving, they go to Christmas, and they tell their friends and family. And there's, one weird cousin who's like super into Bitcoin, and they tell everyone. And so that has a network effect, and it has a compound interest. So I think that it will be a lot sooner than people think.
Yeah, I just think too, when the country with and you can debate this, whether we have the biggest economy or China, but one of the top two economies in the world starts buying it in huge chunks.
Yes.
That is going to send the price, because here's what's going to happen. Russia and China are going to go, because one of the reasons the creation of BRICS is to take away America's financial dominance, the petrodollar, the US dollar. And Russia and China, I did a segment on this back in 2018, got off of the petrodollar, and they, so Russia, one of Russia's chief exports is oil, and one of their biggest buyers is China. And those two countries decided back in 2018, or maybe 2019, we're getting off of the US, the petrodollar, and we're using the petro yuan. So that was they understood, Russia and China, and that's why they created BRICS, was like, we can't allow America to financially bully us the way America just bullies the world. So if America starts buying Bitcoin, the federal government, the United States government starts adding to its 150,000 coin reserve, Russia and China are going to go, fuck that. We got to buy some. And they're going to start buying it. And then you're going to have the institutional investors coming in. And then all of the retail, all of our friends at Thanksgiving in 2 days who are like, hey, what's that? Well, those people, when they see it jump from 1 to 120 to 150 in like a week, then you're going to have supply shock where.
Who's your character? Who's your Darien?
Oh, Darien, yeah.
When Darien's at the Thanksgiving, well, what is this? I don't know. What is this Bitcoin thing? I can't do the voice.
Hey guys, I made a decision that she got into Bitcoin. Darien is independently wealthy. She bought Bitcoin when it was like 5 cents because she didn't know what it was.
I didn't know what it was. And
I just bought it, and it seemed weird. Like Todd wanted me to buy it, and he was like, it's 5 cents. And I was like, totally get it. And then we went and got boba, and it was amazing. I love boba. It's so great. But anyway, I own like 50,000 Bitcoin. Anyway, how are you doing? Like, she's just a fucking billionaire.
I got blocked I messaged you on there, and I said, give me your address. I want to send Darien a wig, and I got blocked for inappropriate on Instagram. I got a notification from Instagram that was like, you're asking for someone's personal information. You are not allowed to do that. I'm all, what the heck?
You're asking, you creeped out a fictional character, Rosie. That's what you did.
Did you flag me, Graham?
I was like, I don't care if you stalk me, but you're not stalking Darien. So that's when I totally
I
report.
wanted to get you a Darien wig. But yes, so all of the Thanksgiving, antes and things like that for sure. But I just wanted to cut you off because you said China has made it legal, but it is rumored that every single time they made it illegal, that the Chinese government was actually acquiring.
Wouldn't doubt that at all. I mean, that wouldn't surprise. Not that I wouldn't. I'm not like what. Like I wouldn't doubt it if China has been secretly stacking up Bitcoin, going, or they made it illegal just so they could do what America did and steal 150,000 coins from people for bullshit reasons or whatever.
Yeah, so that was the rumor, and I think it makes sense because the Chinese government has been more aware of Bitcoin because there was huge mining facilities in China, and it seems like they were more aware of what was happening than the U.S. government. The U.S. government seemed like super oblivious, if they were, they didn't take Bitcoin seriously until recently.
Yeah, they didn't realize what they had. They seized it and were like, I don't know, put this in a vault. We don't know what this is. Like, all right, guys. Might want to look at
I think Ray Dalio bought a bunch of it.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, getting back to your point about how Bitcoiners are so passionate, is one of the things, I think it was either Larry Fink or Paul Tudor Jones, one of those big guys. It was the 20 in 20 during, it was, I think it was 4 years ago when, there was the big price correction right when COVID hit. So Bitcoin was at about 8,000 or 9,000 a coin, and then COVID hit and it dropped to like 3,900 overnight because all the markets got shut down worldwide. And one of those two big institutional investment guys noticed this huge number of people who did not sell. And he goes, I've never seen this. When the stock market dumps, people just fucking throw money, they panic. And he was like, these Bitcoiners, and someone started to explain to him, oh no, Bitcoiners are nuts, man. They are not getting rid of this. They're only selling their Bitcoin if they really, really have to. They really need it. Like Bitcoiners I heard Bitcoiners are like going into debt to buy it, knowing that they'll be able to wipe out this debt, in a couple of years. And so
people were mortgaging their homes during the crash to, doing reverse mortgages.
Yes.
People that, like I said, believe in it, really believe in it.
And look what those people, imagine if you did that. Imagine if you put together.
I've thought of that, Graham.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't have that conversation because we're both going to start crying.
Have that conversation.
We should, when I first got, we should do that. We're going to start crying. But yeah, I mean.
No, it was bad. My husband and I were looking at it when it was like a couple $100, and we're just like, oh, whatever. We're like, la la la.
Oh my goodness.
Don't ask. Everyone thinks I'm like, a billionaire from Bitcoin and crypto because I've been preaching it for so long. I have done well off of it, but no, I'm still here on the crypto case. But I still believe in it. I'm very passionate. I've seen the evidence, but I definitely did not have as much fiat to put into it that I should have.
Think about it too. Like, I mean, Michael Saylor said that by the year 2045, I think he said 20 years from now, he said it could be 13 million a coin.
I don't think, see, the thing is, if you understand Bitcoin, that's not unreasonable.
No, it's not. because the way these guys come to these conclusions, and again, I never really, I stopped listening to the like Bitcoin bro YouTube guy. I don't want, when these financial institution guys like Michael Saylor, who all they do is crunch numbers, and they went to MIT and all this stuff. When they crunch, they explain, when I started to understand market cap, and I started to understand, gold is whatever, $50 trillion of the 400 trillion worldwide. And I'm like, what if Bitcoin overtakes gold? What if Bitcoin overtakes stocks? What if Bitcoin, and it's not outlandish when you crunch those numbers. Like, this is the price today at a 1.8 trillion dollar market cap. What happens if it goes to 20 trillion or 30 trillion? What happens? Like, then you just start doing basic math, and you go, oh God.
But not just that, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's literally taking out crazy amounts of debt to buy more and more Bitcoin. I've listened to his, there's one podcast, I can't remember the name of it, where he explains it I had to listen to the podcast 5 times because I was too stupid to understand it. And Michael Saylor, by the way, has 2 PhDs, one in rocket science. It's like, and so people that are like, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, I'm like, go listen to this guy that has 2 PhDs and is clearly smarter than me. Like,
Yeah.
and he says it's going to the moon. So
look at the MicroStrategy stock price. Just look at that. I mean, and he's even like, you can buy MicroStrategy stock if you want. I suggest you probably, I mean, he tells people to buy Bitcoin instead of his own company stock. Like, what does that tell you? And his stock is really performing well. I mean,
yeah.
So and again, if you crunch the numbers, and I did this when you were on with Florencia and Mona when the Bitcoin halving happened, we did it.
And I got cut off because I had bad signal.
Yeah, you had a bad signal. You got kicked off.
You were like 3, 2, 1 happening.
Bye. Bye.
I'm like, hello.
I think Instagram did it because you tried to send me a wig.
Darian.
But even just looking at, I was like, Bitcoin I did the history of what it does after halvings.
Yeah.
And the last one was like a 7 or an 8x. And I said, well, let's say it just does it. And each halving, the X that it did was like half as much as the one prior. So I go, let's say if it just does a 3x, the price at the halving in April was about $60K. So a 3x puts it at $240,000 in this coming spring, in about 5-6 months. That's not outlandish at all. Now that we're already at 100.
Yeah, it's not outlandish. That's what people don't understand. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm like trying to find every dollar I can to put into it. I've been trying to find every dollar I can to put into it for the last 10 years. And, anytime there's a crash, I get text messages from my stray crypto friends and I'll say, buy more. And they go, you sound like a broken record, buy more. One of my friends said, well, what should I do? It's crashed. I said, buy more, buy more.
I know. I put it on Twitter. I was like, when Bitcoin last week popped into the 90s, and I said, remember when I told you to buy the dip? Remember 2 years ago? I said this on Twitter. I go, remember when I told all of you when the price was at 20 and I said Bitcoin's going to 2x in a matter of a year or two? Well, I was wrong. It's 5x'd. So like, and when it's at 240, I always tell people this when they go, I should have bought this, I should have bought that. I go, don't think of the past. When it goes to 240, you're going to be so glad you bought it at 93.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what I tell people. But
I'm going to put that out. I'm putting it on my resume. Orange pilled Graham Elwood.
Yes, you did. You did. I'm finishing a book, a Bitcoin book, and I thank you in it. I thank you in the back for orange pilling me. Like,
that's amazing. That makes me really, really happy.